Hey, it's Rob with part 2 of my top 25 celebrity crushes in response to Stefan Hamburger and his list. Went pretty fast through those first ones there, but if you want to check some of them out, you may have to pause the video to see some of those pictures. I'm sure you'll want to. So number 12, let's get going. Number 12, I've got Raquel Welch. Oh boy, what can you say about Raquel Welch? Just that isn't said by just looking at her. Beautiful, definitely sex symbol. Of course, I just recently talked about 1 Million Years BC and how iconic she was in that film. And I've been seeing her since I was a kid, since before I even knew what sexy meant. But she was always fun to watch, and definitely in a lot of different movies. I remember seeing her in an episode of Mork and Mindy one time in the 80s, and she was still looking fantastic. Definitely Raquel Welch, one of the great sex symbols from the 60s and 70s. She's become very iconic, very iconic. Next up, I got Barbara Eden, Jeannie herself. This was one of those shows that I used to watch when I was a kid. Never missed it. Still love watching it. I Dream of Jeannie with Barbara Eden. Barbara Eden was so beautiful, and not only as the genie, but in all her roles. I remember seeing her in an early episode of the Andrew Griffith Show, and later on after Jeannie, Harper Valley PTA. She was great, very good actress, and always enjoy her. And just the innocence she brought to the character of Jeannie, and added to the wackiness of that, the humor of that show. And she was a very good comedic actress. Always loved watching her in anything that she did. At number 10, Pow, Sophia Loren. I really should just not even say anything. I should just run the pictures of this one. But this is freaking Sophia Loren. I mean, look at her. But not only that, of course, she was just she's a great actress, and always entertaining to watch, and very good dramatic actress, and very good comedic actress as well. Recently, I think the last thing I was watching with her was Arabesque with her and I think it was Gregory Peck. And just always great to watch, and not just because she's gorgeous and sexy and all, but just a very compelling actress. I say this as I put up, sexy pictures of her, but hey, she is a compelling actress, and I swear she is, as you all know. Next up, I got Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Now I'm starting to go more into the brunettes and the funny brunettes that are more my type as I go towards number 1 here. So Julia Louis-Dreyfus is just one of the funniest people I've ever seen on TV, and I love watching her. I remember seeing her for the first time on SNL in the 80s, and I thought, gosh, she's cute, and she was funny, and she used to do an impression of Marie Osmond with Gary Kroger, who did Donny Osmond. They'd always end up making out at the end. And then, of course, she ended up on Seinfeld, and Elaine Bennis is TV history right there. But she's one of those actresses, comedic actresses, that I love it when they don't care what they look like. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but she doesn't care that she looks dumb in some of the scenes that she has to do. She wants to do that. That's what I like, when they don't care about looking silly for the cameras. I think that says a lot about them, and what they don't take things or themselves too seriously. And she's just great. I love watching her on Seinfeld, New Adventures of Old Christine, on Veep. I look forward to everything she does. At number 9, I've got Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company. I always had a crush on Janet. There was always when Three's Company started, it was all about Chrissy being the hot one and the sexy one. But I always had, with my thing for cute brunettes, I always had a thing for Janet. I thought she was super cute. And Joyce DeWitt never gets the credit that John Ritter got, because she just was toe-to-toe with him. She just was able to just keep up with him and be as funny as he was, and great comedic timing. And for Three's Company, everything was over the top. I actually thought she was a lot funnier than Susan Summers. But I've always had a big crush on her, and from the beginning. And I always thought it was, if that show would have been done today, they probably would have got Jack and Janet together, and I always kind of wanted to see that. I I think it's a shame that she didn't go on to other TV shows and did some more after that, because she just was a great comedic talent. At number 7, Valerie Bertinelli. Oh my God, how I crushed on Valerie Bertinelli, and still do. The only reason that I ever watched One Day at a Time. I was just so in love with this girl, and still beautiful in my opinion. And you know, all that junk about her weight and blah blah and all that stuff, for me, she was always beautiful, weight or no weight, and fine, she wants to lose the weight, whatever. But I didn't care. She was just gorgeous, and that face was just like. I watched One Day at a Time all the way through, and several TV movies that she made, and tried to watch all her TV series, including that last one she did with Betty White. It was just, I just thought she was gorgeous, and still is. Next up at number 6, another short brunette, Sally Field. Sally Field, oh, it's just so cute. Sally Field is like, if I could just create my perfect girlfriend, that would be Sally Field. When I was a kid, I used to watch her on The Flying Nun, and I used to feel guilty because I was Catholic back then. I felt guilty that I thought she was cute. And then I saw her on Gidget, and then she wasn't a nun anymore, so it was okay. But, you know, to Smokey and the Bandit, and all these other movies that she made, and then, boom, turned out to be like a great dramatic actress as well, and you betcha, Sally Field, I like you. I definitely like you. I thought she was great, and still is great. I recently saw My Name is Doris, and she was wonderful in it, and still had that the same acting chops, and just great. I still enjoy watching her in movies, and I hope she continues to make more and more. At number 5, Dawn Wells. Remember that whole thing about Ginger versus Marianne? Well, I am Team Marianne. Always have been. Nothing wrong with Ginger, but for me, it was always Marianne. I mean, she was sweet, and of course, short brunette, but she was sweet and wonderful, and then wore those shorts, and like didn't even realize how incredibly sexy she was. And I have no idea what the hell was wrong with Gilligan, but damn, I couldn't be on that island with her without, making a move on her. I mean. But I'd have to do it in a nice, respectful way because she was so sweet. But anyway, yeah, again, another one of those people that you would have liked to have seen more and doing other things. But unfortunately was typecast with the Gilligan's Island thing. But yeah, definitely Ginger or Marianne, definitely Marianne for me. At number 4, I got Farrah Fawcett. Farrah Fawcett, boy, in the 70s, definitely the opposite of my type, but my God. If it's hard to describe if you weren't around in the 70s what Farrah Fawcett was. I mean, she was a phenomenon. She was amazing. Just the most beautiful smile, as you can see in that poster that sold so much. Right there on Charlie's Angels, and just, she was just amazing. And what even more amazing was that, she was married to Lee Majors, the $6 million man, which made her even cooler. So, yeah, she was just great. One of 2 women who jump-started me into puberty, and we'll get to the other one soon. But anyway, Farrah Fawcett, just fantastic. Number 3, I got Salma Hayek. Oh my God, Salma Hayek. What can I say? Look at her, just a pow, fantastic, and just beautiful and sexy, and just a really good actress. She did one of my favorite movies, Frida. Frida Kahlo is my favorite artist of all time, and she was great in that role. I thought, how is she going to play Frida Kahlo? She's too beautiful, but no, she did a great job, and I've enjoyed watching her in other movies. I would like to see her more in comedies. I mean, she actually does pretty good at comedies too, so she has good comedic timing. So I would love to see her in more. I've enjoyed her in her comedies, and of course, she is just drop dead gorgeous. Yeah, I love Salma Hayek. Before I get to number 1, I'd like to put in an extra one here for a girl that I almost forgot, and shame on me, how could I possibly almost forget one of my biggest crushes, Sheena Easton. Oh boy, did I have a crush on this girl, and kind of still do, because I just loved her. She she's just one of my favorite singers from the 80s, and I had so many of her albums, and on vinyl too, and I just played the grooves off of those albums. I thought she was beautiful, and I thought she was a really good singer, and I really liked her pop song. She was a great pop star, and of course she had the Scottish accent, which drove me crazy because, you know, for us Americans, we're pushovers for any European accents. I actually haven't listened to a lot of her albums lately. I haven't really listened to any music lately because it's just, you know, life and you're busy and work and all that. But once I remembered that I wanted to put her in this list, I started to listen to her music a little bit again, and it just kind of took me back. And, you know, it always takes you back like that. And I just thought she was, and still think she is just gorgeous and beautiful. And I think she still looks great today. So definitely cannot have this list, even if it's the next one. It's really technically 26 now. But I had to get her in there. And I'm glad I didn't forget the great Sheena. At number 2, the beautiful, beautiful Jane Seymour. I first saw Jane Seymour, I was watching Battlestar Galactica, the pilot episode back in the 70s, and she played the role of Serena, who ends up falling in love with Apollo. And boy, I wanted to be Apollo back in those days because, you know, he was a cool colonial warrior and he flew the Viper. But I think I also wanted to be Apollo because, you know, he got to hook up with Jane Seymour. And of course she had done Live and Let Die, which I hadn't seen yet. I just thought she was beautiful and gorgeous. And of course then she was also in Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, and has continued to just go on. And, you know, of course, you know, when actresses get older, unfortunately it's a thing in Hollywood where they don't get a lot of roles. And it's a shame because she's a fantastic actress. You know, she's just wonderful. She's done so many great roles throughout the years. My favorite part of, I don't really like Wedding Crashers that much, but when I see it on TV, I kind of stop around to see it because I like to see her scenes. When I thought she was very funny in that, and still, even in her 60s, still looking fantastic, just gorgeous. So go Jane. And at number 1, the second woman that jump-started me into puberty, really jump-started me into puberty, the beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful Lynda Carter. That's right, Wonder Woman herself. Lynda Carter, what beauty, that is beauty right there. I mean, just a beautiful face and a beautiful everything else, as you could see in the costume there. Yeah, Lynda Carter was really big for me in the 70s and 80s. She just had the most beautiful face. You just look at that face, and it didn't hurt that I was into comic books and superheroes and stuff like that. And here she was playing one of the most amazing superheroines ever, and doing just a great job. And, you know, appearing in other things after that. I remember she did a show with Lonnie Anderson called Partners in Crime that I never missed. I used to watch it all the time because Lonnie Anderson was beautiful too, but it was because Lynda Carter was in it. And it's still gorgeous today, still gorgeous, and one of those smiles that is just devastating. Definitely my biggest crush. It was hard to do this list, you know. There was a lot of crushes there. Not that it was hard to come up with 25, but there's actually more, in fact. But to put them in a certain order, you know, that was very difficult. But I always knew that Lynda Carter would be at the number 1 spot because, you know, she's always been my biggest celebrity crush. Yeah, definitely. And of course, I had a poster of her on one side of my room and the poster of Farrah on the other side. So that's it for me. Definitely at the number 1 spot at the top is Lynda Carter. So, okay. Hey, you know, this was fun. And thanks again to Stefan Homburger for suggesting this and doing his original list. Once again, check out the description down there. I'm going to put the link to his original video there and check it out. And yeah, come up with your own list of celebrity crushes of women or men who you like and who you enjoy for, you know, their acting ability, of course. Come on, it's usually because they're gorgeous, right? But yeah, check it out. All right, this was fun, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right.